We'll start with roll call.
Ms. Buffy Lynn Sharpenshay.
Here.
Mr. Clyde Duplantis.
Here.
Ms. Leslie Wells.
Here. Thank you. Item 2, insurance. To receive a quarterly performance report on the self-funded medical plan as presented by Buddy Leday of Gallagher Benefit Services Incorporated. Welcome, Mr. Leday.
Thanks, Ms. Sharpenshay, and I'll try to be as quick as possible because I see y'all have a few items on the agenda. First off, welcome, Chastity. It's my first meeting with you at the helm, so congratulations on your position and looking forward to working with you. Few things will just go down. We're 3 months into the year, so we do this quarterly. Last time I was in here was in January, and we said that the 2023 year wasn't a bad year overall. We were 10.3% better than the prior. So for a year to date, what you'll see for January, February, and March in the report is the claims for each month, gross claims, less reimbursements for drug rebates and for specific reinsurance. If somebody goes over that, it's very little right now. To come up with your net claims, fixed cost is the only insurance piece of this actual presentation, right? So y'all are self-funded. Y'all claims are paid directly by the school district. Y'all buy reinsurance. They'll pay administrative costs to Blue Cross to utilize their network and for them to administer your claims. That's what the fixed costs are. Your Humana premium is your Humana Medicare for your 65 plus retirees that are Medicare eligible. If you remember last year, we got a significant decrease on those Humana premiums. And so all of the retirees hopefully are telling y'all that they saw a little bit of more money in their checks because they paid a little less for it, and so did the district. So it shows the total cost. It shows the total average enrolled. Employee and retiree funding. So right now it's at about 35%. One thing I want to point out is school board additional funding of $473,000. The way this is set up is we have kept the monthly funding numbers the same for a couple of years now. And what the school district had done is it budgeted for so much per year for those potential increases that our analytics department tells you guys to budget for, okay? So that's 473 through 3 months, but y'all budgeted, from what I understand, about $3 million. Okay, so 473 is below budget, which is good. Okay, so overall, compared to last year, your monthly average is running 1.43% better right now, and if it continues on that trend, while there still would be additional school board funding, it would fall below what y'all budgeted to fund, and so we can't complain too much about that. That's really all I got. Said it would be quick. So if you have any questions, y'all let me know.
Thank you so much.
Good news.
Yeah. Thank y'all, and come see us next week at the Fireman's Fair. So see y'all there. I'll be there all week.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Moving on to item 3, finance. Item A, to consider authorizing advertisement for bids through the purchasing department for frequently purchased equipment and supplies for the upcoming 2024-2025 fiscal year. Ms. Fontana?
Each year I come before you requesting permission to advertise, and this is for our frequently purchased commodities and equipment that we use throughout the entire district. So I'm coming before you again requesting permission to advertise for this items.
Motion by Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any public comment? Any comment from the board? We can vote. Motion carries. Item B, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for a web-based program. Ms. Delcom?
Well, for this one, it would be something new that we're looking at and considering, which is why we're putting it out for, I guess, for proposal to look at. This would be for a program that would be able to assist the special ed teachers in writing their IEPs and implementing their specifically designed instruction, along with having ability to do progress monitoring, and then having some strategies and resources all in one combined area. So we're looking at possibly looking for companies to come and offer. There is one that we know of for sure, but there may be others out there with the same idea. We're looking into Gold Book. We've done a little bit of piloting with it, and with the amount of uncertified teachers and the change, this would help keep everything in compliance and as well as consistent.
Can I get a motion? Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Any public comment? Any comments from the board?
This will make their job more efficient, not make it longer and harder. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Bevin.
I've never had to write an IEP before, may knock on wood, but I will say that having everything in one spot and at their fingertips is going to be so helpful, and so it's going to be, like you said, much more consistent and user friendly. So great idea.
Anything to make that easier.
And there would be PD, and we would continue to work on it. You don't want to be individualized and working on that, but that would come with on our part, making sure that the implementation is still to our standard.
Any other comments? If not, we'll vote. Item C, to recommend authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for an intervention program for grades 6 through 8 with ELA components that encompass benchmarking and progress monitoring. Again, Ms. Duffin?
So this one would be for ELA and math, and we currently do have, we are using something right now. We're using Illuminate FastBridge. It isn't necessarily giving all the components we're looking for, so we're going to put a proposal to see if there's any other agencies or companies out there that may have a similar piece, but it is up for renewal. So we need to come back to the table and see where we're at. So right now, this is the only program that our middle schools have to do benchmarking and progress monitoring, to use for your RTI and MTSS policy, as well as pulling in data for SBLC meetings and when you go to do your evaluations.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comment from the public? Any from the board? Not, we can vote. Motion carries. Item D, to recommend authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for district-wide mental behavioral health screening tool program that allows district personnel to identify students in need of intervention and that matches intervention options with student needs. Ms. Delphi.
This, we're looking and proposing for companies to reach out to us to help with a screening tool for our mental behavior health. We are currently piloting one program, the Renaissance Fundamentals, in 3 schools now. We're still collecting data on that. And then this proposal would allow other companies to see if they have anything comparable to what we're piloting to see what's best for moving forward for the students of the district.
I had shares.
I stayed the course.
You did well.
Can I get a motion? Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Any comment from the public? Any discussion from the board? Mr. Martin, yes.
I'm pretty sure I had the picture eye going on, like,
You felt that? Did you see that?
You talking about Just like that in school.
No, ma'am. Not at all.
All right, then we can vote.
You might have to put him on your program.
we're gonna have some intervention.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Item E, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for an intensive and comprehensive research-based program. Again, Ms. Delphine.
So we're currently using and have these services in a couple of our schools, and a couple of our pupil appraisal staff work hand in hand with Dr. Scott Bellini. Proposal would allow to see if there's anybody else out there that would be giving the same ideas for intensive social skills instruction and behavior intervention. But this one is like specific in the schools, and it wouldn't necessarily be all the schools, but the thing is for Dr. Bellini to consult and then train our staff, train others to get them into all the schools. It's something currently we have, and I believe it's been for the last couple of years that we have this.
Motion by Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comment from the public? Any board discussion? Sensing none, we can vote. And motion carries. Moving on to item F, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for alternative curriculum for students with significant disabilities.
It's time for renewal, and so we currently use from the company News to You, which is, you might have heard of Unique Learning, or UL, which is what we use in our classrooms right now. The proposal then would open it up to see if there's anyone else offering the curriculum, and if not, then for us to renew and get the contracts that we currently have.
Thank you. Can I get a motion? Motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Any comments from the public? Board comments? Let's vote. Motion carries. Item G, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for sign language interpreting services. Ms. Duffin.
So we currently have a couple of students throughout the district that require the sign language services, which either is going to be virtual and or person, which mostly is usually virtual. It's time for us to renew this. We do have 2 vendors that we know that may be interested in this. If you have specific questions, I did bring tonight Ms. Lainey Kirk, or invited, someone told her to come with me. She is the coordinator that oversees all of our sign language learning, special ed students with hearing and also speech services. So if you had specific questions.
You don't have any in person?
No. I've advertised for a number of years. You can't get any more. There's one program in Louisiana, but across the nation there shortage. That's why all these virtual companies are popping up, because they're able to get better help.
However, we are working for graduation to get the in-person, the virtual person that's been working with the student at South Lafourche in person to come and be able to be at the graduation. So they'll finally get to meet.
And we do have, there are some companies now that are beginning to offer blended, so like a few days a week in person, virtual. At least that's something. In person is always better. We just, there's not a lot of opportunity for us to get that.
I have a question for you. I've worked in a parish where we had transliterators in the classrooms with us. Do y'all often look, like you're saying for graduation, you have a certain circumstance. Often do you look for people for special events, maybe not to sign contracts, but to come in like that? Because I mean, there might be people that are interested in coming and doing events per
What
se.
we've done, like, had a request from the board for parent open house night. We had some parents that needed someone, but we've been doing it all virtual because we haven't been able to get anybody. So location is really. Things. Unfortunately, all of our students right now are further in the southern part of the district. And so there are some people in New Orleans, but
Thank you.
Can we get a motion to go forward? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. I have a question. Is sign language still a general education inclusion? I remember when I was in junior high school, we actually learned sign language as just, I don't remember if it was part of health class, most likely. My kids have never really mentioned that they were learning that, which I thought it was a really good thing that we all did. Curious if that was part
No,
of
but I
it.
do know, like in general, some students do it on their own because YouTube offers so
Right.
much. And so we've actually had little kids just kind of picking it
Take
up
it
on
upon
their own.
themselves to do it.
there are some high schools that offer it as a foreign language. But
Teacher
you have
instructor.
to find a teacher in that.
Yeah, that's the problem, when there's the shortage, so.
Yeah, right.
Any other comments? No, let's vote. Motion carries. Moving on to item G, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department. Or, no, is that the same one that I just wrote?
It's H, you're right. You and H.
It's H. Okay, sorry, I was not moving forward. Item H, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for special education department for a technology literacy program that is based in the science of reading.
So, as part of, and I got business people that can help me, but as part of the set aside monies that we receive that can be used for early intervening services, which can be utilized for special ed students and regular ed students. And right now we currently utilize Achieve 3000, you might have heard that. And so it's time again to renew and propose. However, we listed several companies that we know of that may also offer something because the principals have been using a couple of these things through piloting. Lexi has been picked up by a couple of middle schools and elementary schools had the option. And I've received several emails from principals asking, like, can we move towards Lexia? It's really fitting in and aligning with the curriculum more, and it's more with the science of reading. So this proposal allows the companies to come in and to show us what they have and what's their data behind that. So that's what this piece would be, and it's utilized by all in the schools for tier 2s and tier 3 intervention.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comment from the public? Any board comment? If not, let's vote. Motion carries. Item I, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the special education department for a literacy and math intervention program.
And this is the program that would be utilized specifically with our inclusion teachers for their students as intervention pieces for those special ed minutes. Currently, we use iReady. You may or may not have heard of that before. What you're looking for right there is assessment, connecting it to the core, giving you some differentiated instruction in small group, benchmarking, and then giving some PD at that same piece. So this is a renewal as well, with maybe the opportunity to see if other businesses something off.
Thank you, Ms. Delco. Can I get a motion? Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Any comments from the public? Board comment? If none, let's vote.
Now I'm out of money. I'm done.
And motion carries. I made a comment to Ms. Delcom earlier about how it must be funding season. She said, no, it's just renewal season. Thank you, Ms. Delcom, for all of that explanation. Moving on now to item J, to consider authorizing advertisement for proposals for the secondary education department for an asynchronous learning platform. Mr.
I'm
Hill.
glad you had to say that.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of a contract with the vendor that we currently use for this. I know asynchronous is kind of a strange word. So basically, this is the program that we use mainly in high schools for things like credit recovery during the school year and over the summer. Currently, we're also using it in the absence of a certified teacher in certain courses like Spanish and French. And we also use this in other areas. Sometimes if the kid's on homebound and can't make it to school because of some medical issue, they can continue their education through that, which is monitored by a teacher at the school. So we're putting it out there. We've been with a particular company. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the term E2020. It's actually Edgenuity now, the program. So with the contract ending, we are now going to put it back out there and see what we get.
Thank you. Can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comment from the public? Any from the board? Yes, Ms. Martinez.
Could you add sign language into that?
I tell you, they have just about every course that we've ever needed to employ with this. I don't know about that one, but
I mean, this company can provide a live teacher to teach just about anything. It's between $80,000 and $90,000 a year per course.
Oh, forget it. Never mind.
yeah.
There's a need in some places where they have to get it, and they're willing to pay that money. That's a good one.
Any further questions? If not, let's vote. Motion carries. Item K, to receive reports on proposals for weapons detection systems and take appropriate action. On this.
Good afternoon, everyone. So back in December, we requested that we go out for RFP for a weapons detection platform for our schools. In the RFP, we received 12 proposals in total. Out of the 12, 11 of the submittals met our criteria for being mobile and other specifications. 11 proposals were then disseminated out to our review committee where further analysis of understanding was needed to be conducted based on our specific criteria. Once the analysis was completed, scoring was calculated based on the RFP scoring rubric outlined in the RFP. 3 different weapon detection systems were considered: Ultra System, OpenGate, and Evolve. Presentations and demonstrations of each system took place at the school board office to further review the capabilities and limitations of each system. On completion of demonstrations, the final scoring and consensus resulted with determination that Evolve Weapons Detection System best suited the needs for our district. The recommended action tonight is to award the highest and most responsible proposal for the Evolve Weapon Detection Platform from Alliance Technology Group and take appropriate action.
Mr. Brook, can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any discussion from the public? Any board member discussion or questions?
Close. 1 out of 10 for Evolve. The scores at the bottom? Is that how y'all rated them? The 9 out of 10 is what they scored, and the other ones were like 5 and 6.
Yes, ma'am. So, different scoring criteria, fees, company background, confidence in approach, reference, and prior experience.
Ms. Wells, which one are you looking
Yeah, I can speak on that.
at? Go ahead,
Just to
Ms. Tobias,
clarify.
can you clarify that?
Sure. So the first round of scoring was based on all the RFP rubric. So So we took all the proposals and the committee was selected. We had various committees. So we had IT involved, we had education involved with the principals, we had safety involved. So we had a lot of different people involved in the scoring committee. So we were able to obtain a lot of different perspectives with respects to weapons detection. And once we were able to gather those scores, we took the highest scored proposals, and it was based on the three different types. So we were able to compare apples to apples. And we took the highest scores from each one of those brands and brought them in for demos. And then we had another scoring rubric that was based on more complexities, based on what each product could do and performance-wise. And that's where those higher rating scores are, the 6 and the 9s. So that's why we made the consensus that Evolve was our best suited for the district.
Just for a point of clarity, the difference between weapons detection and just a general metal detection is it actually has the ability to identify, a weapon-shaped object. And I was able to see a demonstration of this at the national conference that I attended, and Evolve was there, and I had already spoken to a person who had contacted me about it, that they were interested in working with our district. So I was able to see it firsthand, and what's good about it and time saving about it is that it'll identify the area on the person where the detection occurred. So it allows the person who's doing the screening to go right to that zone on the person's body rather than doing a full body search. So it really is more expeditious, I guess is the best way to put it. So definitely impressive, and looking forward to having that additional safety. Yes.
Funding source, which is always asked, should always be asked.
May I
Yes.
speak to this one? I mean, look, Mr. Breaux has, as you know, charged the safety department. We got the voters to approve allowing us to use safety money for things other than pure safety. However, we still have these 4 mills generating that money. He also has a balance in his safety fund. So if you open up the attachment, it will show the costs. It's the bottom last in your executive content, and you'll probably have to expand it. The short of this is these are expensive. We've got an annual cost in year one of $359,613. And an annual cost in year two of $291,000, with a total cost over a 3-year period of $941,000. Mr. Breaux's safety account has the money to put this on our campuses, and to me, this is a really big deal that I'm in favor of for securing our high schools and our middle schools and our athletic events. Remember, these are portable, so they can be moved to areas as we have gatherings and have our folks walk through these things. What you're being presented with right now in this executive content that shows how much they're going to cost is the anticipated cost. Right now we're putting 2 units like the one you see behind Mr. Breaux at each of the high schools. It may have to grow to 3 once we begin to use these. Now the vendors assure us that you can put 1,500 people through one of these in about 5 minutes because you walk through at the speed of light. It is not a metal detector. It is checking for concealed weapons using AI and the infrared scanning capabilities that these things have. If you've been to Disney World, you walked through one of these. So they're very common, they're very used, and these are the state-of-the-art weapons detection systems available in frankly, all of North America. So they are expensive. We have a funding source. It is your safety budget. I needed you to know how much it costs in the plan, or how many that go to each school is listed in that last document. You can see it in your executive content. Thibodeau Middle gets 2, the high schools get 2, and all the other middle schools get 1, which is going to create some operational challenges. But I'm sure that our principals can figure this out, right? Car line comes in, and you transition to bus line and have them walk through it. We believe that we can use these things quite well, and that it's going to make everybody, frankly, feel better about the non-existence of weapons on campus.
Thank you for that. Ms. Ricky, you had a question?
Well, you answered part of my question with, the schools where they can place that, but the other part is, what about when they're carrying their backpacks and stuff, it detects that also?
Yes,
Secretary?
on the person or in their bag. And this comes with, the company, it comes with training, provided to our teachers and things like that, so, if somebody comes in and they do have a box on, say their ankle where, maybe a knife or something's detected, we won't just take it for granted that, we just have one knife, send it back through and determine to use this green until green. So, if you can't find it, send it back through and we'll get it before they enter our campus.
I don't care if it's lost, it's one life of the child and our.
It's a big price tag, but I know parents were really on for like the 1-point entry, and we almost achieved that. And this, I mean, like Miss Marion said,
You can't put a price tag on the safety of her.
I like the fact that we had so many to choose from too. It makes me feel good that we got the best of the best.
If no further questions, we can vote. And motion carries. Item L, to consider the renewal of software licenses for GoGuardian Classroom Management from Liminex.
I can talk about that. GoGuardian is our classroom management software that is teacher run. It is a Google extension that runs when the kids open up their Chromebooks. Our teachers love it. They live by it. I'm the administrator for the district over GoGuardian. It is well used and well loved. So renewal is worth it.
Can I get a motion as well? Second by Mr. Duplantis. Any public comment? Any board comment? Yes.
Again, the funding source.
This is going to be IT funding.
Any other questions? If not, let's vote.
That's where I learned it.
Motion carries. Item M, to consider the renewal of FileWave for device management. Is that you as well, Ms. Katie?
That's why I'm still standing.
Thank you.
So I can talk just a little bit about this. Josh knows a lot more about it than I do, but it is our device management program. So like on our iPads, it allows us to download apps onto devices across the district, our Chromebooks. And so it helps us keep track in making sure that the right files go to the right place, if that makes sense. So, and I love that one personally because it allows me to help teachers with the iPads and the right apps and not.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comment from the public? Any board discussion on this one?
Funding source?
The implied general fund. Does that answer your question?
Chair's okay. My chair's good. Thank you, Mr. President. Notice I'm not moving.
I can't hold it together like she can.
No other questions? We can vote. Carries. On to item N, to review the summary of on-course add-ons that were part of the RFP award for the SIS and assessment platforms that will be purchased.
So these add-ons were part of that original RFP for our on-course suite of software. And that was approved on May 3rd of last year. So these two pieces, the classroom learning management system and the walkthrough, have to kind of think about on-course like a la carte, like an a la carte steak dinner. We kind of held back on these two, like at the beginning, because we wanted to do a little more digging in and seeing if we absolutely needed them. And then as we're midway through implementation, it has come to like we need it. So what the walkthrough piece is going to give us, it is going to give us the ability to create within the system an administrator walkthrough evaluation for administrators to go in and evaluate our teachers, but it's not like a huge evaluation. It's just those quick walkthroughs, and it's going to allow us to tailor our standards, the things that we look for in our educators in a district. It's really good. The classroom application, it is similar to Google Classroom. We are not replacing Google Classroom, but it allows for our teachers to go in and really create very pointed assignments, very pointed formative assessments, standards aligned. We think it's going to make their lives a lot easier. I've been playing in it as one of our great chemistry teachers in the district, and if I were still in the classroom, like I would be all of it because it is phenomenal. So we just wanted to be kind of clear that this was part of the original RFP. We kind of held that at the beginning just out of caution, because if we didn't have to spend the money, then we weren't. But we need it. So, and we just wanted to be transparent in that we are going in and purchasing. And I do believe it's the general fund now.
It does not require vote. I have a question about this. The cost associated with this, I see it's year one pricing. Is this recurring annually?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on now to item O. To receive the monthly budget to actual report for all major funds for the period through March 31st, 2024. Ms. Neal?
This is our monthly budget to actual report for the major funds of the district. The district's major funds include the general fund, the 1995 sales tax restricted fund, the salary supplement fund, the 2021 construction fund, and hurricane recovery. The 2021 construction fund will be presented as part of the Land and Facilities Committee meeting by Ms. Shasta-Chasson, and the hurricane recovery fund is presented in this onward report. Highlights of the funds included in this report as of March 31st are as follows. 79.3% of the revenue budgeted has been received for a total of $88,424,724 within the general fund. Items of importance are as follows. 62.7% of sales tax budgeted was received for a total of $12,853,545. 83.7% of ad valorem revenue budgeted was received for a total of $8,262,474. All other budgeted revenues are flowing as expected. 79.2% of expenditures in the general fund have been expended or obligated for a total of $123,864,423. Within the 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, 63.5% of revenue budgeted has been received for a total of $11,071,113. And expenditures, we do have an exceeded amount, but as compared to what we budgeted of 20.5%. This is due to audit services that came in a little higher this year, but we will monitor this and make appropriate budget amendments if necessary. The salary supplement fund, 84.3% of the revenue budgeted has been received for a total of $5,605,213, and expenditures of 1.9% of the budgeted amount has been expended for a total of $4,141. And this fund just is kind of like a transfer out to the general fund to carry, to cover salaries and benefits, and so that usually occurs at the end of the year.
Thank you. Next is item E, to receive periodic budget to actual report for non-major governmental funds through March 31st, 2024.
This is our quarterly report of proprietary funds that needs to be provided based upon the Louisiana legislative audit requirements. The proprietary funds of the school district are the group health fund, the loss control fund, and workers' compensation fund. These three groups combined indicate a deficit in funding as compared to expenditures in the amount of $4,433,746. Please note that this figure is subject to change for the following reasons. Within the group health, there's a budgeted transfer of $3.5 million to the general fund, and this will occur at year end. And the loss control revenue has not yet been received within that fund because that occurs when we pay our insurance fees that were just approved at the April board meeting. And, each of these funds, again, will be monitored to ensure that they stay within state guidelines.
Item Q, to receive a financial report on Hurricane Ida response and recovery to date.
The total amount expended and encumbered for Hurricane Ida expenditures as of March 31st, 2024 was $113,190,000. And there was an increase in expenditures this month from February in the amount of $661,346. The total amount received from FEMA as of March 31st was $726,463 for a total aggregate of $47,712,216. The total amount submitted for reimbursement and the total amount obligated by FEMA is $60,084,128. Although this number has stayed the same for the last couple of months, I've noticed that this month, during the month of April, they have obligated additional funds, so next month it will increase slightly.
Thank you. That concludes all of our items, our lengthy items in finance this evening. And with no further business, the